the game while you listen.
What's going on here?
But this ragtag crew of adventurers is covering the problems of the average player.
Where should I begin?
Discussing the homebrews, modules, and the latest content for all things D&D.
What in God's holy name are you blathering about?
It's Chef Bolg and the Pirate Captain's recipes for everything.
What you're feeling is so normal and perfectly natural.
With your host, the Pirate Captain.
Everybody loves me, and I don't know why. I'm an asshole. I really am. The Pirate Captain is a dick.
Chef Bolg.
Let me take a couple steps back so I can, really get this point across.
It's bullshit!
And Loke the Bard.
Instead of making a deal with Cthulhu or, the greater devil, you found an imp who was willing to give you dark vision in exchange for a gallon of blood.
With a little mayhem, mischief, and a bit of bardic charisma, it's time for the show.
Well, that's right. Back at it again for another fun-filled adventure with the crew. One of these days, I'm going to drop you all off at port, sail off into the open seas, and never look back. It's
You
Chef
tried
Bolg.
that once.
Yeah. Somehow you
tried
managed
that
back
once.
on the boat. I'm not even... How? I literally tied you to a post.
We started our own boat called Damage Rolls with blackjack and hookers, and the pirate captain's not invited.
But I like blackjack and hookers. It's Chef Bolg and the Pirate Captain's recipes for everything. I am the titular Pirate Captain. Sexy as always, and with me as always, me bestest buddy Bolg.
That's me.
Loke the Bird. And of course, our very talented and co-host. Eventually I will get back to Damage Rolls. Right now he is hosting Damage Rolls. That is Mr. Producer. Mr. Producer?
Hey guys.
You forgot to also mention beautiful, awesome, and absolute sex machine.
I don't like to say that many nice things about myself, all right? It doesn't really roll off the tongue. People think you're just kind of bragging. I'm just trying to keep it humble here. Titular works.
I was talking about Mr. Producer, but okay. Be humble.
Oh, this is a D&D podcast. We talk more than just D&D. We are recipes for everything, so we talk about different stuff that's going on with wizards. We talk about different things that's going on with all sorts of stuff, and we appreciate y'all joining us in on this journey. Now, today I want to talk about some Kickstarters that are going on because I think Wizards needs competition, and it's going to be our first topic of the day. Is there's this huge Kickstarter that's going on right now that Loke sent us, which was it shot up to 7 million, and it's doing really good. And I'm going to show it to everybody here shortly. But this is what we need. We absolutely need this when it comes to these content creators. These legacy people are slowly bleeding out. Wizards is the only one that's really, of all the toy companies, Mattel is the only one that's doing good because you can just sell Barbies forever and people are going to love it. But Wizards is kind of bleeding itself out. You're watching DC and you're watching Marvel and even Dark Horse. They're all just slowly bleeding out. So it's really nice to see some of these campaigns coming out here of people just trying to bring out a product and see if it's going to work. And this right here shows you that people don't just want this legacy stuff anymore at all. I mean, $7 million is a heck of a feat to raise. What you got there, Bolg?
So this is Ronan Novakane, completely Kickstarter-backed comic series.
Well, I got Rippaverse.
The third volume was funded in an hour. I think they're sitting at $150,000 out of a $12,000 budget right now.
That's cool, and that's
Wow.
that's what I'm telling you. Like, I mean, go look at Eric July's stuff. All right, how do you put out a comic book? And the first one makes $3 million. And every one he's put out so far has made over $1 million. Alpha Core may not have, but I'm pretty sure it did. And he's getting ready to put out Yaira, which I know will make $1 million. Everybody's stoked about Yaira, not me. The next one that's coming out with Chuck Dixon is going to be really good. It's going to be like a Batman in the Rippaverse. But people want to see these things. And I think if the more that come out, not only is it going to flood the market with some really cool stuff, I expect to see some big things coming up at Gen Con. I'm actually going to be working at trying to get myself over there to hang out at Gen Con because it's right here in Indiana. But I think with these competitions like this, it's going to create some really cool stuff. Some absolutely awesome stuff. Let me pull up this story. Look, how'd you even find this?
Actually, it wasn't me. It was Mr. Producer.
Yeah, it was me.
So you sat there and took the credit the entire time like a jerk.
Yeah. Oh yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
I
That's a very Bard-like thing.
recall where I came across it. I imagine I was just scrolling through Reddit and it popped up. I was like, oh, that could make a good concept. So what makes it unique is each trading card comes with a QR code on it, and when you scan that QR code, it will give you a digital copy of that card on, I'm guessing, their app or their website. And you can, I imagine you can, trade this code between friends. And what this code allows you to do is go online and, print and purchase copies of this card, assuming you own the digital license for it.
There's a little bit of danger in that, in the fact that how many can you print? How many are you allowed to print? But I think it's a really cool concept. I think like having it tells me that they're already working on like a digital battle arena, which is really cool because that's how a lot of people have been learning to play Magic recently, is they enjoy the Magic mobile app game and stuff like that. But yeah,
these days that's the only way I play Magic, just because keeping up with it is so hard. To play in the live stores, they're always coming out because part of Wizards of the Coast mismanagement. They put out too much new stuff too often for Magic, and all of a sudden your edition that you bought last year is all those cards are no longer valid in tournament play or whatever.
That's what I like about Force of Will. Force of Will, it's the one that I refer to. I go play that across Eaton every now and then, and it doesn't matter. All the cards are viable, and they actually will make a new set that'll counter an old set. Like if something's gotten too powerful and you see it, they'll just make something like, all right, cool, let's go in and create something that'll counter this problem, and then creates a new problem, and then it's a never-ending thing. But also,
as opposed to Wizards, who when something's too powerful, it's banned before the boxes actually hit the stores, but it's still in the sets.
Yeah.
So
well, Force, and that's where Force of Will is pretty good, is the fact that it their ban list, like the sets come out, and then they update their ban list quite frequently. But Altered, it's a new trading card game starting from Equinox Studio. It's broken records with its inaugural crowdfunding campaign, with nearly $7 million earned from nearly 15,000 backers. The math on that's got people have to be dropping like somewhere between $200 to $1,000. It becomes the single most funded TCG ever run on Kickstarter, the new card game, which will be entered in a crowded marketplace alongside like Magic the Gathering and Disney Lorcana. I know Lorcana is doing really good. A lot of people are liking that one, and it's actually expected to come out right after Gen Con, because Gen Con's August 1st through the 4th. It's supposed to come out August 26th through 24th. I'm interested. I'm absolutely interested. This comes from Roger Bonsuit. We are overwhelmed. Reggie, is it Reggie? I don't know. We are overwhelmed by the incredible support, by the enthusiasm shown by our backers throughout our campaign. The success of our Kickstarter campaign will not only validate our version of Alter, but inspire us to continue pushing the boundaries of innovation and gaming. We are immensely grateful to each and every backer that has joined us. I really enjoy that, because now you're putting you've essentially walked up to Wizards and every other one, Disney, anybody that's doing the TCGs, heck, even One Piece has a TCG right now. And you've poked them in the chest. You've poked them in the chest and said, all right, bro, I'm here. Ball's in your court. And this is what this needs, though. This is absolutely what Wizards needs, is this little kick in the butt to kind of like, okay, look, if we don't start getting our head out of our ass, people are going to go find great things like this.
Oh, yeah, and you could tell this person is somebody who they played the card game or some kind of card game, and they were getting tired of where they'd have 2 instead of 4 of a particular card.
Yeah.
And they were tired of having to hunt for it for months or go to eBay or whatever to try and find their missing cards, because they couldn't find what they were looking for, in the gotcha pack style that these games come in. So that now you get one, you can have as many copies as you need to actually play that card. So they saw a problem and they're fixing it in their game. That's if you're gonna come up with something new, that's a pretty good way to base your game on it. Is you take the problem of the game you're playing, fix it, and base your game on that fix.
Yeah, I gotta go. I'm trying to pull it up. Can you send me
So
a link right to their
have
Kickstarter, there, Mr. Producer?
Yeah, I'll try to pull it up. I have a couple points. I've been playing Magic again recently. A buddy of mine was gracious
Good, you can join me.
enough to gift me. Have you guys heard of Tabletop Simulator?
Yes, but
Yeah.
I haven't really looked into it.
Yeah, it gives people like all the tools to build, these co-op games, and someone has, built and modded in like all of the Magic the Gathering cards. So I can just go online, find a commander, grab a deck list, export it to the game, and it gives me a full, $7,000 deck at, the click of a couple buttons that allows me to play.
Is it like a subscription model too that you can use?
No, it's completely free. You buy the game, grab a deck, you have access to basically every card. It's really, it's really changed the ability for me to play Magic, instead of being confined to what cards I can afford, I can just grab and go.
You don't have to be around a table full of sweaty dudes. I haven't showered in a while.
Yeah, that's an added bonus.
So I made that joke. Here in Indiana where I'm at, I get to host Smash tournaments as part of my job. Like they send me out to go host these like video game tournaments, and I love it, absolutely love it. And I got in trouble with my boss because I was like calling people sweaty and stinky on air, and he was like, they don't like that. I was like, no, they love it. They get the trope. It's a joke. Like everybody in the room but him gets it, and because he's not a very big gamer and he doesn't understand. But that's the thing. Things like this, like right now, D&D Beyond is getting ready to French and British. All right, 1 second to bring this back. That's it right there. Kickstarter, altered TCG. I gotta tell you, I wonder if I can get y'all to react to this with me. Let's take a look at the trailer. Wasn't ready for this.
Do I have time to hop into my second point? Or are you pulling?
Yeah, no, go for it.
So my second point is what they seem to be doing this interesting, like I'd call it almost Web 2.5 with the digital ownership, but they seem to have a hard line between being like a crypto trading card game, which is another card game I play is called Gods Unchained. And what's cool about that is you can earn the cards throughout playing the game and sell them on their digital marketplace, and it's all Web3 backed. But this seems to cut out that that Web3 component by just, hey, sign up for the app, you'll have the digital ownership, and then you can do a physical copy of it, which is where the Web3 falls short. But it's definitely a crowded space that Altered is jumping into.
I mean, let it be crowded. The kings will rise to the top. It's Reggie Bonsoir, the publisher of Dixit, Mysterium. I don't know, but I do know Dice Forge and
Dixit. I know.
You know,
Dixit's a fun game.
Yeah,
I've got that. Got the original and an expansion, I believe. It's just a fun game where you like put down a usually a French artist has drawn this beautiful picture, and you just have to assign it to a card.
Group.
It's cool. Yeah, basically.
All right.
It's a fun game, but it's entirely imaginative, and it's like it doesn't have a whole shitload of rules. It's pretty fun. I could bring it to next D&D night and show it off. But
can you guys see this?
Yeah, sorta.
Alrighty. Let's see what it says. It's really good trailer work right here. Putting the sleeves in. I understand that so much. Oh, I like this. Doesn't really tell me much about the game, but I do like this. Okay, so this isn't even like a trailer that shows the game. It's just like a concept, not even a concept trailer, just it's a really good work though.
So does this have like a what do you the
I don't know.
the virtual game where it's geotagged, and I'm blanking on what the term is for it, like Pokemon Go type.
Like an AR game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I was hoping that was going to be like a trailer. Okay.
Augmented, yeah,
There we go.
that's the term I was blanking on. Augmented reality.
I don't understand French.
So if it's going to have that kind of element as well, that's
I want to skip to the part where it's kind of like more showing the gameplay. Oh, that's really cool. So it seems like it's going to be like a commander style play. Okay. Oh, that's pretty... Okay, so, all right. This is going to be unlike anything we've actually seen. I don't even know if you could really call this a... Because it looks more like it's going to be like... You're building a map within a map. And I'm going to watch more about this once we get off the show and stuff like that. Because it looks interesting. But...
Yeah, it looks worth a check out.
I'm gonna... Yeah. I would definitely like invest into it a little bit, depending upon what it's going to cost. But I mean, I don't think it's going to cost a whole lot. You're probably going to be paying more for the tokens, but you can just kind of backlog your tokens and everything like that. They're going to have 2 decks available from the 6. You can like drop in a whole lot of money on that and stuff like that.
Yeah, it goes. The first pledge tier is $25 down from $30.
Oh, that's
and then the one bump up is the expert pack, which is $150.
Yeah, you can get the divine pack, and it's like 6
Oh
uncut
my.
sheets. Like, there's a lot of stuff with this. Like but hey, look, I guarantee you, people like the tryhards that are going to be wanting to be like top of the world's players at the start of this are going to be like dropping. Like, that's how they made 7. I was like, how did they make like $7 million?
Does it say how many backers they have at each tier?
Not sure. But this is...
Oh, wait, they do. How many divine back? 320 divine backers.
Bro, that's...
Let's do some quick math.
Yeah, say do me a euro thing real quick and figure out $5,000. Just do $5,000 in euros, because like $10 off or 10 euros off. But this is what it is, and this right here is going to kick. It's going to kick kick these guys in the pants and say, hey, look, man, if we can get if you can get, you said how many backers were there? 300 at that level. Yeah. How many, like, I know the euros is not a big thing, but we're going to be seeing stuff like this, and this is the year to do it. I was looking through when you first sent me this, like, let's see how many different Kickstarters. There's like 5 Kickstarters that people are eyeing out right now in March.
They got 1.73 million from
but how much
from just the divine pack?
What's the cost of the divine pack?
Let's see. I think it's 4,900. Yeah,
just do
4,000.
Just do 5,000.
Yeah, that's what I did. That's what it comes out to, is 1.73 in US dollars.
So,
but if we want exact,
so it's like $173. That doesn't seem right.
No, it's 5,000 times 320. So it comes 499,000 euros comes out to 500.
People like $5,500 for this shit. That's
one euro is $1.09.
I gotta start changing my money to euros.
They're pretty darn close to dollars for euros.
Yeah. The exact number is 1.73 million. $32,480 from just Divine Pack.
That's insane. But this is awesome. Like we first off, you have a creator that's already known. He does good stuff. Obviously, Bolg was saying, "Hey, look, I've got stuff. I enjoy this." That is insane. And you don't even have to be a big creator like that. It helps. Like right now, hold on, let me pull this one up for y'all, because they got the crew like Gary Gygax's boys and a few others. They're coming out with the Tomb of Gygax. You'll have to help me pronounce that one. And this one popped up when I was just doing a search for all this stuff. I want to share an awesome Kickstarter with you all. The guide adventure called The Tomb of Gygax. It's created by Luke Gygax in conjunction with Gooey Cube to honor his father, Gary Gygax, because Wizards of the Coast is clearly not doing that. Yeah. Let's take a look at this Kickstarter and see how much. The thing is it started 22 days ago. They've got $320,000. Not bad. Not bad. But this is going to
fully funded.
Say what?
So it's fully funded.
Yeah, it's definitely fully funded. But this looks good. This looks awesome. Like, this is the stuff that when I play D&D, I want to feel like I'm doing stuff like this. I like that, honoring the co-creator, Gary Gygax. They make him like an Asterial monk. Oh man, this is what it. This is the kick in the pants that they need, and maybe Wizards will get off their ass. Like, some people were making comments on our videos that of our last video that we made, our big one, our last episode, about them bringing back the D&D first edition, the D&D original edition. I'm gonna get into that comment here in a bit too. And they're like, why are we even justifying this? We know that they're gonna come in and somehow ruin this too. And I was like, that's the truth about it. A lot of people made the comment that I would, why am I buying this? It's only going to be adding, all they're really doing is adding the writings of Gary Gygax. And I was like, that's actually what I would pay for. I would pay for a book just that has all his like typewriting notes and stuff like that, just to kind of like go through and pick his brain, essentially.
Yeah, I think I commented that, as long as this book ain't $500, that I'm probably buying this book when it comes out in June. I have no intention of running a original D&D game or campaign, even though it will have all the rules and how to.
No,
I have no intention of running an original D&D game. It's the history of it, the how things came to be, the whys of, why do we have rules like Magic Missile that are just the iconic history that's been in every edition, almost unchanged. Where did that come from? Why is it the way that it is? I think that would make that a good book.
That's what I'm in it for too. Because if I want to read the original rules, I'll just go to Niggleward. He's got it.
Yeah. And people mentioned that you could just buy the original on eBay all throughout the comments. And it's like, yeah, that's it. But it's really so much as I'm paying so much more. Or I'm paying for his notes and stuff like that, because that's what it is. And if you are like, let's go back to the last topic real quick. If you're wanting to start one of these Kickstarters, go look at what the greats did. Like, the big thing when you study, when military leaders go to college and stuff like that, like when you go to like West Point, all these fancy colleges, the big thing that they study is military leadership, what worked. All leaders just start going back. Military combat really, the tools change, strategies really don't. And you go back in and you look at some of the different stuff, and it's all based off like the Romans and then the Egyptians, the Persians, how they all did this stuff. And that's what this book would be really good about. And if you're going to go in and do a Kickstarter, having like a basis, okay, here's what we do, here's what we like, let's get rid of this, let's do that. How did they do it? And that's what I'm expecting to see out of these notes so much. It's not so much as, like I said, I'm with you. I like playing playing the original edition, not the first edition, for those of you who are going to get salty about it.
Yeah, for the young kids like Mr. Producer, 5th edition is not the 5th edition of D&D.
Well, you're jumping the gun on that one. Jumping the gun. We're going to get into that one. But I think that I absolutely, this is going to be a good book for it. Like, that's what it is. And you can come out and create stuff like this and get your stuff funded. If you create a product like that, people are going to buy it. And like I said, it'll get Wizards off their ass. And like, oh, snaps. People actually like that stuff. They don't want all that. Let's just do that. So that's it.
Well, I mean, it's in any like facet of commerce now. Hell, the shirt I'm wearing is from a company called Teen Hearts that releases shirts that you would think would be sold in like Hot Topic, but Hot Topic is too afraid to sell them, or Spencer's or anything like that. So they made an online store, and that's where they made their money. They went from a small Etsy shop to a full-on website.
I mean, I'm going to throw it back out to Eric July. The dude made it his own comic book company, and that's it. Like, people are getting tired. people are getting tired of product. Like a lot of these places have gotten lazy because they're like, oh, well, people like Disney for a fact has gotten lazy. We don't have to tell a good story. People are just going to show up for the stuff. And in recent years, people stopped showing up because it got lazy.
Well, back once upon a time, you used to have the big conglomerate behind you to mass produce your book, comic book, board game. It's gotten to the point now where you can do it with a small production facility and go and kickstart fund your own projects.
Look at Power World. Power World didn't even have a facility. They were just like, hey, we're going to get random dudes. Like the guy that helped them create guns was some clerk at a convenience store. Like, hey, man, I know about guns. They're like, cool, you're hired. We can't pay you anything, but you can come work for us.
And they had a smashing success.
Yeah, because they gave people what they wanted.
Yeah, so when they're saying the industry's dying, it's not the industry, it's the people that,
it's the legacies.
Yeah, well, and it's the big companies who've been taking a percentage off the top from the people who actually come up with these things and put these things together. And then they go, oh yeah, I'll bring that to market for you for 50% of the profit. Well,
yeah, some like really bad Shark Tank deal, but they want their. I'll give it to Kickstarter. I have personal issues with Kickstarter, but that's neither here nor there. But there's a lot of them. You got like Gifts and Go, Kickstarter, all these different places that you can start these little industries like this, and you can get them funded and do great things. And I want to see more of this. I absolutely do, because I love D&D. I absolutely love it. But seeing somebody come in there and just destroy what I love, not naming any names, Jeremy Crawford, just throwing that out there. And finally watching people be like, I'm just done. I don't want to play this anymore. I'm going to Pathfinder, which actually isn't bad for me at all. I much prefer Pathfinder. But you get these people that are slowly gutting what you love, and you're like, well, there's nothing else out there. Hey, more things like this. Come on, bring it on. I'm all about it. If I had the money, I don't have the money because I'm a peasant. And I'll fund it, and I'll definitely be allowed to play. I would definitely be excited to play that. So, my intangible rant over. I do want to talk about that comment, though. Let's get into the comments. Big shout out to everybody who watched our last video. It was huge, absolutely huge. One of our best videos yet. And some of y'all felt bait and switched because of, oh, well, you said first edition. And we're going to get into that because this is this comment thing. But a lot of y'all made really good comments on a lot of stuff. We try to respond to everybody. If we didn't get to you, we're sorry. And we'll definitely, though. But one of the comments that I wanted to address was somebody who is right. I'm not going to deny what he said wasn't right. And, but it's this kind of player, it's this kind of mentality when you go into these games that you make it less fun for everybody around you, and you're that guy, and no one really cares. And here's the comment. I'm just gonna read it off for you. You can go find it and argue with him for all I care. I don't care. First edition is not being released. Actually, it's being re-released. If I had to argue with that one, but the original D&D is not first edition, and there's a huge difference between them. Yes and no. Yes and no. I downvoted the video because it's supposed to be news and RPG stuff instead of basic research not being done. Actually, we did our research. We read it in and we talked about it thoroughly about the different stuff. Here's the thing. When I refer to first edition, when I started playing this game, first edition was pretty much everything up until second edition from the original creations of Gary Gygax, because there wasn't a major shift. That's how it was taught to me, the difference between the different editions, moving on into the later editions and stuff down the line. Now, there is the OG, and he was right. He's absolutely right about the different editions for D&D, that the original box that came from Gary Gygax was not labeled first edition. It's just Dungeons and Dragons. It was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons that comes into, and that's technically the start of your D&D stuff.
Everything we said in that video, we referred through that entire video, we referred to it as an original D&D. And then the pirate captain posted the title of first edition.
Because that's what I know it as.
Yeah.
So, and to prove
really,
the guy right, prove the guy right.
Yeah, and the guy's right. That there was the original D&D, and then there's basic D&D, which all came before first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons.
Right.
And this book covered everything prior to what is actually first edition. Is what the book covered. It covered everything from chainmail and things that weren't even D&D yet, all the way up to basic Dungeons and Dragons, and when they split, and the reason when they realized they needed to start over, and that's why they came up with the first edition of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons.
It's all pedantics.
Yeah.
I mean, I referred to it as first edition for a very long time because it was first edition and then advanced first edition.
Yeah.
Like, because that's first edition implies that it is the original.
And in the Pirate Captain's defense, there are multiple editions of the original edition, and they're giving the notes for the actual first edition of original D&D, which included things like calling halflings hobbits and things that they had to produce a new edition, a second original edition that did not call them and called, change those copyrighted names out. But they are showing the original with those copyrighted names still in is what will be in the book. So in a way,
I don't even want I'll just give the guy the credit. Okay, bro, you're right.
Yeah.
No,
I'm not. I'm going to feed the trolls. I like trolls.
Like some people, I guarantee that's why they downvoted it. And okay, you win.
There was a decent number of dislikes, weren't there?
No.
Yeah.
No, we didn't get ratioed.
Okay.
I like 33 people to 9.
Okay.
Yeah. I appreciate everybody who watched that. It doesn't matter if you hated it or not. Thank you for taking the time. That's the point about it. The point I'm making about this argument, about this comment and stuff like that is that's not how you make friends at D&D tables. It really isn't. I enjoy a good rules lawyer who keeps everybody fair and honest. Like
Felix.
Yeah. Felix is really good about it. But when you get to be the actually guy, you're ruining the experience for everybody around you. It's essentially just coming in there to be like, well, actually, nobody likes that. And look, just a little bit of table etiquette, and we're going to be moving on to our next topic. Just think about stuff like that. I don't care, but I do care enough to say I just wanted to come out and let you know, person who commented, you were right. Yeah. Let that be. Yeah. You get the Pirate Captain Certificate of Achievement.
Yeah, because they're like Mr. Producer. When this came up, Mr. Producer didn't realize that there were more editions than just the 5 that are 5e.
Yeah.
Because I was just counting them off the top of my head. No research done. If I miss one, where they had the white and the brown boxes. They had the basic D&D, the Holmes edition. Then they had first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, second edition, third edition, 3.5, fourth edition.
His camera's jumping.
Now fifth edition, and then it'll be fifth edition 2024. So we're at about the 10th edition, not counting reprints and revisions like between the brown and the white box where they had to recall and reprint them without the hobbits and those kind of things, and copyright issues.
Some fan stuff that says 5.5 is 2.5 was when they released Skills and Powers because it drastically changed the game. So
and then there's those, and then there's also the reason that it went Advanced First Edition instead of calling First and Second Edition D&D, they were AD&D, because there was another product that was also called Dungeons and Dragons that wasn't produced by the same Gary Gygax and CSR.
All right.
That when they'd split off. So there are multiple editions out there.
Just add that.
Actually, Jeremy Crawford said I could counterspell Wild Surges.
I don't care what Jeremy Crawford said. And if we want to get into that one for another thing, because everybody else, you got ratioed so hard in the comments on that one. So I was like, wow. All right, hold on.
I did like our alignment talks in
A
there.
lot
That
of
was
people
fun.
like that one.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that was actually really fun. Like, I appreciate everybody commented on it, and some people were like, "Hey, look, it used to mean something," and that was actually the truth about it. All that stuff actually used to mean something.
Was there more conversation in the comments?
Yeah, a lot of people
Okay.
actually had some really good points that they made about alignment. Some people like even called us out and said, "Hey, look, you're kind of wrong. Alignment's still a huge deal. It's all about how you play." Like, I highly recommend. You don't have to go watch the video. Go read through some of the comments. People made some really good arguments. Yeah, like I said, I didn't care about being right. I really didn't. But I did want to address it and just say, hey, look, bro, you're not doing yourself any favors. Oh, let's talk about some DM styles. I do want to talk about this. This is brought up to Mr. Producer because he is very much against Loke. I guess there's a hidden beef that they don't want to admit
There's
there.
no beef.
I feel like there's beef and you guys just don't want to admit it. It's okay if there's beef.
I think he thinks I'm trolling him by making his game difficult.
He does that to everybody, though. He does that to everybody. You're not the only one.
Mr. Producer has a very linear, on rails DM style, and I keep breaking it.
Yeah.
By not cooperating.
It's more like trying to drag an anchor along.
And I'm the one having to pull it.
I'm telling you, I've tried throwing him off this boat several times, but y'all keep letting him back on. So, but no, he provides a counterpoint.
Hey, look, we all have our own agendas in that game, and you're doing a fantastic job of telling us no, you don't. I was trying to set up a criminal empire, and then the Avatar gets released, and I'm part of the White Lotus, so I have to stop what I'm doing to teach the Avatar.
I mean, I think it's hilarious that you actually made Felix the Avatar, so he couldn't delete his character.
It wasn't in my initial idea, but when I realized I could do it, I was like, oh, he always switches characters.
Yeah, he also did it because, like Bolg was saying, he was going to set up a criminal enterprise. Felix was thinking of becoming a drug dealer. All the bad stuff. He's like, no, you're going to be good. You're the freaking Avatar.
I like how it's hilarious because you expect D&D players to be good players without like forcing them into it. And it's true. If you give them any bit to do bad things, D&D players are like, there's no consequences in this world. Let me just run free.
First thing Felix tried to do was start Breaking Bad. That's it immediately what he went to.
Yeah.
So making him the Avatar puts a certain level of a threshold of morality. That's
no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Well, at least we've established he's going to be Kyoshi 2.0 and is going to murk people.
Yeah. She yeeted a dude off the side of off a cliff, bro. Like,
but even Kyoshi was acting in justice.
Yeah, ultimate justice.
Whereas when he first went into the Avatar state, he killed a bunch of people who were trying to run away.
That's just good justice out here. You gotta have that. It's that paladin level justice, where you just everything is
just justice. Their bodies are full of justice. Their corpses are representatives of justice.
Just getting all this justice out.
But yeah, in our session, it came out like different styles of how you're when you're planning your session. Like when I plan my sessions, it's basically an outline. If you're going into a city, I might have a line item on there saying, time to give players time to shop, and it won't have any information about any of the stores or what they can find there. And then I'll just do like a percentile roll. If you're looking for a magic sword, yeah, there's one there. But some DMs will there's shop A and it has these things, shop B and it has these things, and they'll have that all listed out in their plan, their details, and it's just a different style, a different level.
I try to do, I try not to be that anal about all the small details. I try and get most of the story laid out and improv the in-between stuff. Sometimes at better success than others. There's been a lot of generic names. but yeah, it was just it was brought up in the session. I was curious because
Yeah, see, I plan out the encounters. So I'll go, okay, you're going to fight a red dragon with 3 fire salamanders, and on this type of battlefield. And I'll plan out the social encounters that, okay, as you're going into the city guard's going to try to charge you a toll. And it was, okay, option A, fight city guard. Option B, pay the toll,
Right.
I think trying to get too detailed in it, you'll end up spending like you really should go more towards the Loke style of like, hey, look, here's the general of what you could do. Like any of these options are available because when you do try to streamline them in there, you end up having players that are going to try it because players have free will. NPC, the characters themselves, they really don't have free will because it's whatever the player wants them to do. And if the player doesn't want them to walk in the direction you want them to walk to, good luck. You can just sit there and drag that anchor all you want. Sometimes that anchor ain't even going anywhere. All right, I'm going to sit here. Now, you can be a little bit more of a forceful DM and say, all right, cool. Well, then I'm going to create a scenario that moves you there. It's kind of bad for the table. It's not to say that you can't give them an end goal. It's just like when you're trying to lead soldiers or something like that. What you want to do is you want to give them the end goal objective.
So, Loke had mentioned that I have a very linear style, and a lot of that what has been kind of set up to where we reached the last session, and now I'm hoping that it kind of goes from a linear to opens up a little more. So it'll definitely test those some of those improv and I'll have to build write a couple different storylines.
I mean, you don't even have to be a master of improv to have more of that laissez-faire style when it comes to DMing. You just got to be able to roll with the punches because your players will actually give you stuff. You're like, yes, it did mean to do that.
I intended this all along.
Exactly. You just got to work on your poker face. That's really what it is.
I was just about to say that like I generally set up my games as here's point A where you start, here's point B where it needs to end. What happens in between is all up to you. I have a book of NPCs, a book of locations. It's mostly up here, but I still pull from them. But sometimes, like if my B is, say, with going with the dragging the anchor metaphor, if it's Nassau Port and you guys are insisting you need to go to Bimini, well, guess what? What you need to do is go to Bimini because you got bad intel telling you it was Nassau.
No, hey, it's the more you do it, the more, like he said, you'll be able to pull from a Rolodex of different things of characters you've used in the past or something like that, and you reskin them. You essentially just like where this one was called Player A, now all of a sudden it's Player C. He acts and does everything just like Player A, but he's in this world, he's Player C, and you'll be able to. But when you try to force them, you gotta break away from that style. That's more one-shot stuff, and it works really good for one-shots because your character, they already have in the notion, okay, I'm going in here, gonna kill out the goblin camp, gonna go through it. You try to keeping them on the morale path. That's a little bit of a different story because in your case, yes, you're trying to say, hey, look, you're supposed to be in this campaign setting where we're playing an Avatar offshoot. I want to make sure that the Avatar is staying, within his Avatarly duties. Less Kyoshi, more Roku. That I understand. But at the same time, when you try to force feed the story, maybe sometimes you drop points or NPCs or items in there that you create intrigue of why do I need to go to Ba Sing Se or why do I need to go to the Southern Air temples, and that's going to help it out. But trying to linear a path a game, it's not beneficial to anything outside of a one shot. I tell you,
and sometimes you got to carrot and stick it as well, like. When the characters make the bad choices and do the things that you don't want them getting into, make sure you punish them. when they make the good choices and do the things you want them to do, you reward them.
Yeah.
And eventually they learn or their character dies.
Dungeon Master applies to more than just D&D, and sometimes those skills intertwine.
How do you deal with a character who at every turn tries to undermine you as a DM?
Simple.
That is all characters in my campaign.
You got a D&D screen, right?
What?
You play behind a D&D screen,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so whenever you're rolling for damage and to hit, looks like it's magically hitting really goddamn hard.
Let me give you an example. I won't name any names.
Loke.
But in my game, there's an earthbender.
Loke.
Loke. I gave them a very rudimentary, like, hey, this is how you can, like, train to improve. Like, this is how you can learn the advanced bending styles.
Loke.
I made a list. One of those is sand bending. And for the last 4 sessions and 4 game days, this character has done nothing but make sandwiches and call it sandwich bending.
Loke.
So,
to be fair, he did come up with a new way of bending sandwiches. So
this character,
you can tell your players no, bro.
Yeah. So that character never learns to sandbend.
He took advantage of you and your niceness, and all you had to say was, no, we're not doing that.
By this same character, I was accused of not having any stealth in my game. But when there was stealth in the game, he walked up and goes, "Hey, you guys," and waves. So it's how do I incorporate stealth when you have a walking alarm bell?
Well, he agreed. It was me and Nigglewart saying, "There's no stealth. You don't have to take pass without trace. It's not going to work."
All I'm saying is, bro, you don't have to be nice, especially to Loke. Yeah. It's okay.
And when a character does that, and they're supposed to be stealthy and gets filled with arrows because he walked in.
Yeah.
He either learns not to do that or he dies.
You're still a fresh DM. And I kind of, if we were back in the studio the way we used to be, I'd come over and pinch your cheeks and go, "Oh, you're so adorable." So pinch your own cheeks and call yourself adorable. But bro, you don't have to be heavy-handed. You don't have to be like Iron Fist when it comes through here and just like slam it down. No, you're doing this. Mm-hmm. But you definitely want to let them know that there's consequences for their actions in every game. For every, it's the basic laws of physics. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So when he comes in there and like Loke said, he comes in there shouting and screaming and carrying on. Well, behind the screen, it's magical that he ended up getting hit by everything to within a point of his life. And that's where the player is hoping that the character is going to learn. Now, whether the player learns, some players are just idiots like that.
Or the party learn. Yeah. In this campaign, this particular Earthbender has the lowest possible wisdom and intelligence score.
I hate
both.
So he rolled really poorly.
Yeah, he rolled really poorly.
Like intentional. Like he rolled really poorly.
He is dumber than Bolg. We'll put it that way.
I ought to murder all of y'all for letting that go through.
And so, either the party needs to take that into account and prevent him from doing the "Hey, you guys," or he gets full of arrows and then he won't be available to.
So far, he's been a fine distraction. Those of us who do use stealth have been able to get around and get behind and, take care of some heavy hitters while he is getting pummeled.
But yeah, you just don't be afraid to have bad stuff happen to your players. It's okay. They're allowed to die if they make the mistake.
Well, so on that topic, because it's set, in the Avatar world, I've had to generate a lot of my own stat blocks where, a lot of in the typical D&D world, they give you basically anything you could want. So in generating my encounters, I've, had to kind of, this is how much damage I think this person would do. And unfortunately, because we have players who come and go from the table, I never know exactly how many people I'm creating the encounter for that night. So there's been 2 instances on Nigglewart's character where, as written, I would have probably insta-killed him because I crit 2 encounters separate times. But I had alternate rules in there written for, oh shit, this is clearly like, this challenge rating far exceeds, like, this would insta-kill him when it was not designed to. To what degree should I, fudge those rolls? And I'm curious what each of you,
Okay.
has to say on that.
You can always ask him, hey, how much health you got? All right, cool. Yeah, sorry, bro. Looks like you're down to 1 health point. Like, it's okay. Like, you don't even have to roll for damage. Hey, look, you kind like be fair when it means to be fair, but if your players are being an absolute troll to you, troll them back. It's okay. Like, guess what? You're God. This is the one time in the world where you get to look at people and go, it's kind of like, yeah.
I generally
clench your
don't.
jaw back, and you're like, kind of like hide behind your screen a little bit, and you look back up, and you're going, go ahead and roll me 3d6. And do it again.
I generally don't fudge the rolls or the damage, but I tend not to use custom stuff either. That's part of it. I use an app that has all the DM all the characters, and it calculates what's the right number of these things for the levels of the players. And then what I'll do is I'll forget to use their legendary action, or I'll this thing's supposed to attack twice per turn, and I only attacked once. Oops.
For me, I have set up encounters where, like, I thought it's a pack of wolves. There's no way, and then it's just ripped through them. And then I've set encounters where I'm like, this is going to be really difficult. I might accidentally kill 1 or 2, and you just blow through it like it's nothing. The thing is, you roll behind the screen. You can fudge rolls. You can roll minimum damage. You can roll maximum damage. You can do a lot of things from behind the screen to make the encounter tense, but not necessarily have it be a wipe one way or another. So I fudge a lot of rolls because I want things to be enjoyable, but not like.
You can also have NPCs that walk away. How many times have people, you see that common trope where the enemy at the beginning of the series, like, beats you within an inch of your life and thinks you're dead and walks away.
They came out of the fucking walls.
I'm just saying, lead agents are freaking mean like that.
If at the same time, if I say this is going to be a deadly game or a deadly one shot, if I've got beasts or humanoid whatever going up against you, they knock you down, they bring you down to death saves, they're gonna try and kill you. So at that point, I'll make it plainly known that they're going to go for the kill shot. That way your friends have to be there to help you. And in those encounters, it's definitely something like making it plain and not hiding the fact that this is a deadly, you will die if something's not done type of deal.
I think this comes back to my old 2nd edition mentality where your characters generally did not survive. It's okay to kill characters. If you TPK the party, that means everybody gets to roll new characters and you start them again. It's not a big deal. You're not really killing. You're not actually stabbing your players. It's okay.
No,
I mean, you should assert your dominance as the alpha, but yeah.
This by this point in, like, my campaign, you guys have invested probably 20 hours into it. So, I know each of you feel some sort of connection to your character.
No, they don't. They would make a new character within an instant and feel just the same.
No, I mean, sometimes they do.
No. I'm not talking about other players in general. I'm talking about you specifically. You guys specifically, I know, would be like, all right, come on back. Now I get a Troll 2.0, baby. Windows edition.
That's one of the nice things with Dungeons and Dragons, whereas you'd have to figure out how to work this in the Avatar world, because you're running something a little bit different.
Yeah.
But one of the nice things in Dungeons and Dragons, there is resurrection magic.
Mhm.
There is ways, if, for example, Felix was really disappointed when I killed his character in our current campaign. Mr. who always changes his characters had finally found a character he liked and didn't want to change, and I killed him.
You disintegrated him.
Yeah.
You didn't kill him.
Yeah. Killed and disintegrated. So he and I behind the scenes worked out a method to allow the resurrection of this dead character and allow him to rejoin the
Fucking
party.
showed up. Yeah.
Yeah. 4 or 5 weeks after being dead, he didn't like it. He tried 2 new characters after that. And then just one day his old dead character came back. We'd worked out a reason for it.
So
I mean, it can be done.
No, it can't. Sometimes things need to die.
And you could have players like me, like Mr. Producer. Do you think for a second that I haven't kept up with the leveling with Yang as my second character? Or that if Yang dies, his secret girlfriend in the police force, Mina, as an earthbender isn't there?
Whoa, look at this exact carbon copy of my character that just showed up.
Well,
Isn't
They are
that
brothers.
weird?
They are both chi
If
blockers.
Donk
So.
dies, all of a sudden, our water better hasn't been showing up. Some blood-bending wannabe sadistic guy is going to show up today.
Like, guys, did you see that guy blow up those people's heads on live TV? Can I learn to do that?
Yeah.
So
it's okay. It's okay to kill characters. That's
He said, just like I said, I want to go over there and pinch his cheeks. He's so adorable.
but see, sometimes killing them doesn't teach them. Sometimes you just got to penalize them. Like take a foot.
Yeah,
Not even take a foot. No, because you can regrow a foot. You can regrow a foot.
But it's a pain in the ass.
But what you do is you put ankle weights on them essentially, and you start making their attacks do less and less, because they're fighting with that inner turmoil of murdering people, and you're like, all right, let's see what I can do with this.
You take their money. You take all that drug money that they've earned away from them. They're not the richest. They're not rewarded for their bad behavior of selling drugs.
Other people can come in and steal things without, like, that first moment that somebody skips their sleep check or makes it, all of a sudden, you're missing things. How many things? You're the DM. You can roll the dice and make it sound like you're doing something crazy behind the screen, trying to compute stuff out. And look, this looks... You don't even know what I'm doing right now. But yeah, I need you to go ahead and wipe away all the gold on your sheet. They just robbed you blind. I tried. The rolls were there.
In this case, I may have crashed the world economy. But
yeah, that's a whole nother comment for another time. Like worlds with.
Just to close this up here, it's
Not my cabbage credits.
How do I pick someone who is like, okay, I think this character, what?
How do you do this without targeting?
Do I like spur of the moment, first time, or do I?
Dice roll works.
Every action
and do it in front of the screen. Just roll a die. Don't say what it's for, and then when the consequences come, they'll figure out that's what that dice roll was for.
Yeah. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction, whether it be good or bad. You could go in there with the best of intentions to liberate a town from a tyrannic ruler, but then you find out that the tyrannic ruler was actually keeping them safe from surrounding bandits, and vice versa. You could go out there and take out the bandits, and you find out that they were actually protecting them from a tyrannic ruler. It works both ways.
Or,
so you just...
or when you're got a drug gang that you expect your heroes to break up, and they instead try to buy drugs from the drug gang, that drug gang now becomes undercover cops.
Yep.
Them.
Yeah. You'll learn more of these techniques as you become a more as you DM more and you kind of like start thinking on your feet. You don't need an improv class. Like I've heard a few people, I've seen a few videos on YouTube where people are like, you need to go out and take an improv class. It'll help you with your D&D. And I'm like, bro, just go out there and DM more.
You unintentionally punished somebody in your very first game by making other people think that he's a cop.
Which, by
and
the way,
making his job
hilarious.
So much harder.
Freaking
so
hilarious.
There had been plans in the last session to have Felix's character Todd be arrested on drug trafficking charges, but he successfully thwarted those. So he remains
at large.
At large, yes.
And Thonk remains quite large.
That's all I'm saying, bud. You'll figure it out, and I'm sure you're not the only the new DM that's out there. Like, I don't know what to do with these unruly players. All right, then let me tell you, just start murking them, just there.
And remember, it's all just fun anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as everybody's at the tables having fun,
this is real
what
life.
they're doing doesn't really matter. If they actually save your world, doesn't really matter. If your world blows up. Mine's blown up a couple times because they failed. Sometimes they did it intentionally.
Nah.
But it's okay because it's not really the end of the world if they end your world. You just have to start.
I'm just saying.
One.
Sometimes you just have a paladin and some staircases.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, now I'm feeling personally attacked, and you know what? That's the end of this. This is Chef Bolg and the Pirate Captain's Recipes for Everything. We appreciate everybody who's joined in on us. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, leave a comment about anything we've said, whether you agree, disagree. If you want to choke out Mr. Producer for running his mouth, he's adorable down there. He really is, but sometimes he needs to be put in his place. As always with me is my bestest buddy, Bolg. Say goodbye, Bolg.
Goodbye, Bolg.
Say goodbye, Loke.
Yeah.
Say goodbye, Mr. Producer. Actually, no, you don't get to say goodbye tonight.
Bye,
as always, happy adventures, folks.
You've been listening to Chef Bolg and the Pirate Captain's Recipes for Everything, featuring Loke the Bard. Like, follow, subscribe, and share this podcast. You can also find them on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Just search for Chef Bolg and the Pirate Captain's Recipes for Everything. Questions, comments, and mutiny requests can be sent to bolgandpc@gmail.com. And as always, happy adventures.